All right, so welcome to this video breakdown. This is an Associated Press article, and I want you to get a little bit familiar with hockey, okay? One of the four main sports supposedly, right? Baseball, hockey, basketball, and football. And we're in the playoffs now, and Matthew Tkachuk stars in his return by scoring twice as the Panthers. That's the Florida Panthers, the defending Stanley Cup champion, as they top the Tampa Bay Lightning 6-2 in the series opener. Okay? And I mean, right away, I see this is the Tampa Bay Lightning that they play against. Tampa Bay, Tkachuk. Okay? And we're going to look at one of these goals. And game 2 will be tomorrow in Tampa Bay. You see right there. And obviously, game 1 in Tampa Bay with the 6-2 victory for Florida. We'll kind of look at one of these goals here. He had 2 power play goals. This is one of them, just so we can get some visuals here, all right? Got to be careful here with the footage, okay? So let's go ahead and try to play this a little bit. Look, he's left-handed, number 19, going to the net right now. You see he's got an open alleyway right to the net. Look at that. You see that? Now look, you see Barkov here, number 16. And look at this. And the guy over here, Reinhardt, number 13. He's going to deliver it to Tkachuk, who's right here in front of the goalie in blue. Look at that. That's what you do not want as a goalie. You got Matthew Tkachuk right in front of you, and he could just put whatever move he wants on here. And with a guy like Tkachuk, that's going to go in the net more often than not. As you see, he puts in the power play goal right there, okay? I was trying to find the other one, but it wasn't popping up within a reasonable amount of time, so I just kind of gave up. But he has 2 power play goals and 1 assist, and this is his first game in 2 months. Look at this. Look at that move. Ugh. You know what I'm saying? So, an awesome goal there on the power play for Matthew Tkachuk. And we take one more look at it. Look at these moves. The goalie's just stuck here, okay? Whoop! 5-hole. You see that? Right between the legs. Ugh! And you can't blame the goalie on that one. I mean, Tkachuk being loose in front of the net like that. Look at that. You cannot blame the goalie on that. The goalie's like helpless. And that's all he could do is try. Okay? So, and that's just how it goes down, okay? So, 2 power play goals for this guy and an assist in his first game after a 2-month absence. So, a 2-month absence, 2 power play goals, right? So, 2-month absence, 2 goals. His name's Tkachuk, which starts with a T. And these goals against Tampa Bay, Tuesday night, Tuesday, Okay? Right? A 2-month absence, and the Florida Panthers opened defense of their Stanley Cup title with a 6-2, and they won, and the other team scored 2 goals. Okay? A 6-2 win over the Tampa Bay Lightning on Tuesday night in the first game of the first round playoff series. Nate Schmidt scored on a power play goal and also finished with 2 goals. And Sam Bennett and Sam Reinhart, look, they got 2 Sams. They even got 2 Sams. Look at this. Sam Bennett, Sam Reinhart each added a goal and an assist for the Panthers. Sergei Bobrovsky, look at this. 20 saves. So you get another 2 in the 20 saves right there. All right. Jake Gensel and Braden Point scored for Tampa Bay. And Vasilevsky had 10 stops, meaning saves. That's it. That's not a lot of saves. But this is interesting that this guy on the other team, Braden, scored for Tampa Bay. That's interesting because Brady Tkachuk is Matthew's brother who plays for the Ottawa Senators. So that's interesting, right? Brady Tkachuk is his brother who plays for the Senators. And Tampa Bay has a guy named Braden, which happens to score in this game. So very similar there, huh? The Lightning played the final 33 minutes, 30 seconds without center Anthony Cirelli. There was no immediate word why the 27-year-old center was out. The teams meet for game 2 of the best of 7 series. And then game 2's the next game. So there's another 2. And it's a best of 7 series. They meet. Look, Thursday, another T right there. Check that out, right? Pretty awesome. And usually they say this guy missed and there's no immediate word why, Anthony Cirelli. That they kind of do that in hockey. They're kind of sensitive with releasing why a player goes out. I don't know, maybe they just have a lot of pride. But we're gonna head over here to Canva and I'm gonna show you some. This is what I do on this channel, right? So check this out. So look, I think that you know what I'm gonna do? Instead, let's see. Let me pull this up on Google Slides real quick because I think I adjusted some slides. Oh no, I guess they're the same. I thought I had adjusted some slides. But check this out because look at Matthew Tkachuk. You see his birthday. He's born on the 11th day of December. So the 11th day of the 12th month. Look at this game, April 22nd. Look how it's the 112th day of the year. So when you look at the 112, you see an 11 and then you see a 12. You see that? And his birthday is the 11th day of the 12th month. So you see how that connects with this game here. And even being born on the 11th, you see you also get 11 date numerology there. And that's cool too because 1 plus 1 is 2. And we've already had a lot of 2s. And you see this game was on Tuesday, right? And he missed 2 months on top of the other 2s. Even look at the game. The game was on the 22nd. You see that? Okay, and that on the fly right there. And check this out. Look at this. His last name, Tkachuk. Interesting spelling, right? That's how it is. Look at that. 42. You see how the chart breaks down right there with reverse reduction. You see that? Reduced at Q and beyond, which is Q's the 10th letter in reverse. 1 plus 0 is 1. P the 11th. 1 plus 1 is 2. Just the alphabet in reverse with reduction. Look at that. Tkachuk 42. And the game 4/22, which is like 42. Okay? And of course, Tampa Bay loses with 2 goals. But look at this. The winning team here, the Panthers, defending Stanley Cup champion. Panthers 101 in the ABC 123 cipher. 101 is the 26th prime number. The score 2-6 on 4/22. 4 plus 22 is 26. How about that? And he has these 2 power play goals, right? This is the opponent, Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay 79. Look at the full name for Tkachuk. Matthew Brendan Tkachuk 79. So they match with the T and they match in the code. Full name versus Tampa Bay. Look at that match. And you know what's interesting as well? Is we have the Oklahoma City Thunder, which is involved in the NBA playoffs, and they're number 1 in their conference, right? An amazing season. Okay. I don't know offhand if they finished the best. I think it was like them and Cleveland in the East that were dominating this year. I can't remember off the top which one finished with the best record. But isn't that interesting that the Thunder are popping in the NBA playoffs? And you got the Lightning in the NHL? It's not like a big super shock, but Tampa Bay even has T like Thunder, right? So that's interesting. Thunder, Lightning, and you get 2 different sports and you get the T connection even with that, right? That's pretty cool. Matthew even has 2 T's in his first name, by the way. But look at that match and check this out, man. You see he has 19 on his jersey. Well, I kind of blocked it a little bit there. But you see, I put the jersey there anyways. Tkachuk wears 19. It's exactly a 19-day span from his birthday to this game. Exactly 19 weeks from start to end. Even Matthew Brendan Tkachuk, reverse reduction, that cipher one more time. Look at that, 119, which is like 19, okay? Even Tampa Bay Lightning, the opponent, look at that. It's that same cipher hitting again. Reverse reduction. 91, which is simply 19 reversed. Ooh, and look at 91 Stamkos right there. I just barely caught that. Look at Steve Stamkos. And dude, S is the 19th letter of the alphabet. And that's on the fly right there. Okay? Steven Stamkos. And that's on the fly. Oh, he's on Nashville now. But he was on Tampa Bay. Look at that. He was on Tampa Bay, and S is the 19th letter of the alphabet, and he's got 91 on his jersey. Ooh, right? And of course, he's got the February 7 birthday. Wow, it's a small world. Derek White birthday. I just did this.
According to Wikipedia, Derek Richard White is an American professional basketball.
I just did that breakdown. Derek White on the Celtics, same birthday. What are the odds? Oh, this is the second month and the 7th day. Okay, and Derek White has the 7th day, or the 7th month and the 2nd day. Okay, my bad. My bad. But it's the same numbers. That's interesting. And look, real quick, he played for San Antonio, another S. So, anyways, wow, that's a nice 1991 connection with Stamkos there, as he was a member of Tampa Bay. So, okay, he's on Nashville now. If I would have known that, I would have. I don't know why I put him in the pick there. I think I was just showing a Florida versus Tampa picture. Okay, so that's interesting, isn't it? We're not done with the 19s. I'm telling you, I mean, maybe it matters. Maybe you have to care about hockey. I don't know. I care about breakdowns, and the stuff is amazing to me, okay? But look at this. His middle name is Brendan, and I remember this legend, maybe the most famous Brendan in the NHL ever, just off the top of the dome here. You know, I've watched some NHL. Brendan Shanahan. Look, they got the same name. Look at the middle name for Tkachuk. Look at the 19 on Shanahan's jersey right there. And look, that was as when he was a member of the St. Louis Blues, S, Shanahan, S, and again, S is the 19th letter of the alphabet. So you get it with Steve Stamkos with the 91, former Lightning. All of these 19s, Tkachuk with the 19-week span, birthday to the game, 119 in the language with the full name, right? And you get the same Brendan connection with Shanahan right there with the 19, and then he's on the St. Louis Blues there. S, St. Louis, 19. S, the 19th letter. And this is Keith Tkachuk. So this is the father of Matthew and Braden. And I grew up following this guy. You see him on the left here. Do I need to open this up? Let's open it up. Right here on the left, Keith Tkachuk. Look, dude was on the St. Louis Blues as well. Isn't that amazing? So he's from this Brendan Shanahan era. And his son's got Brendan. They connect all of these players. You see that? Look at that. And I just caught the St. Louis connection because I knew him as a member of the Winnipeg Jets turned Phoenix Coyotes. I'm out here in Arizona. I grew up watching the Coyotes as they moved from Winnipeg to Arizona. They became the Phoenix Coyotes. Keith Tkachuk had some amazing seasons with the Coyotes, and you see how he's connected here with Brendan Shanahan. They're kind of from the same era, okay? But even look at the game-winning goals for Shanahan, 109 like 19. But look at in the playoffs. Brendan Shanahan was known for being on the Red Wings. There was a lot of success there, okay? And, you know, obviously a member of the Blues, a couple other teams. I know the Rangers for sure. And I think Tkachuk maybe went on to play for possibly Nashville as well. Don't quote me. But anyways, that's besides the point. Look at the playoff records for these guys. 2-11 for Tkachuk and 11-2 in the playoffs for Shanahan. And remember, this is Matthew's dad with the Arizona connection. Look at this. You see the 2-11 and the 11-2? Well, remember, I was supposed to have that first slide there. Remember, this game was on the 112th day of the year. 1-1-2, April 22nd. So you see how that 1-1-2 connects, and they got the same middle name, Brendan here? Same middle name, or the middle name that Matthew has. Look at that. And you see his dad had the 1-1-2 reverse. You could just look from right to left, 1-1-2. Look at that. And you got a little glance at this. Look at the 19 and the Coyotes jersey. Phoenix Coyotes turned Arizona Coyotes. Keith Tkachuk, a member of the Phoenix Coyotes before the St. Louis Blues. Look at this. Discussions centered on the greatest Coyote of all time are less a debate and more a conscious agreement. You won't find many fans who put anyone other than Shane Doan, in the conversation. The longtime captain tops the all-time franchise list in goals, assists, points, and games played. Number 19, Shane Doan. So you get that 19 one more time. Okay? So Matthew Tkachuk, this big game, and if I do a breakdown on his brother, remember his brother's name is Brady. So you get Brendan, Brady, and there's a guy on Tampa Bay, Braden. Remember that? But they come back and they connect with this number 19 here with their father, Shane Doan. And Doan played with Tkachuk for a bit. Tkachuk, I think, was traded to St. Louis after that. And if you're talking single season stats, Tkachuk was amazing, right? Doan was more like overall year after year with pretty decent numbers accumulated, right? Is that how you say it? Accumulated? But if you're talking solo single seasons, Keith Tkachuk was the man. Him and Jeremy Roenick had some nice seasons with the Coyotes. Never won a championship or anything like that. A couple memorable playoff games. But look at this. The Coyotes got its first Arizona got its first NHL team in 96 when the Winnipeg Jets moved to Phoenix, changed their name to the Coyotes, like I stated. So you see Tkachuk with the Jets, and then as they moved to Phoenix and Arizona to become the Coyotes, look, Winnipeg's got the 119, like 19 even. How about that? Notice how Winnipeg has the 97 in the ordinal cipher. Matthew Tkachuk, born in 1997. So you see, it's all in the family here. You get the father, Keith. You get the son, Matthew. You get Captain Shane Doan, and how all of this connects with Arizona and Winnipeg as Winnipeg moved. You know what's interesting? They were the Winnipeg Jets. Jets like planes. Look at the number, like 9/11, right? Jets, planes. You see that? Arizona. Winnipeg Jets moved to Arizona like airplanes. And who beat the Yankees in the World Series of baseball after 9/11? It was the Arizona Diamondbacks. Okay? So you see how all of this stuff just connects by the language, the letters, and the numbers, right? And that 19 right there. Don't forget chaos equals 19 as well. And you see that 97 Winnipeg connection with the father, with the son. He has this big game in the first round, a game one. You see the 19 on his jersey, born in 97. Look at that. Okay? So I know that was a lot to digest. There's a couple more slides here. So Tkachuk, I mentioned, hasn't played in 2 months since February 8 because of a lower body injury suffered during the Four Nations face-off. tournament 2 months ago. Ooh. And that 2 months ago was February, the second month. And now he has 2 power play goals with all of the twos mentioned on the 22nd. That 22 connects with that 9-11 as well. Remember, twins equals 22. You're talking 2 towers, right? Wow. Fake world. But look at this. Remember, you always got to know when you're dealing with Arizona. Arizona equals 42 and 39. Look at February 8th was the 39th day of the year. You see that? And look, that game he played against his brother, Braden. Or Brady Tkachuk, excuse me. You see Brady? This is him in the top right. He plays. That game was against Ottawa. So the brothers played. Think about it. 2 brothers as well. You see that? 2 brothers. They are not twins, but you get the 2 again. Isn't that amazing? And that second month game, but Arizona 39, that game on the 39th day of the year, Arizona 42. Remember, Tkachuk equals 42. And this game 1, 4/22, like 22. You see that? You see that right there? And they mentioned the 4-nation face-off there. You see? Look at that. I covered that as well. And a 4-goal victory in this game. You see that? And we're in the 4th month. How amazing is that, right? And I think he had a fight in that game as well. And you know what? I think there was 3 fights in 9 seconds also. If you can go do your Googles, because I know we're going long here. I think there was, and Canada equals 39. That game was against Canada. Or wait. Yeah, he's American. That game was against Canada. And here's his brother Brady, born Scottsdale, Arizona. Matthew, born Scottsdale, Arizona. And here's his father, Keith. Looks like he's born in is that Massachusetts maybe? I think that's Massachusetts. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. But absolutely amazing. And look, his dad's got the middle name Matthew. And then Matthew, his son's got the middle name Brendan, which connects with Brendan Shanahan. So, wow. Okay, and here's his father. Look at that season for the Coyotes right there. 96-97. And remember, Matthew was born in 97. Look at that. 52 goal season. And the prior 50. And then he kind of fell off after that. But 40 goals is still good. Isn't that amazing though? So he peaked with the Jets/Coyotes to go back to that 19 connection. I gotta show the 3 fights in 9 seconds. And Canada equals 39. 3 fights in 9 seconds, USA versus Canada. Look at that. 3 fights in 9 seconds. What a script. I'm surprised that guy doesn't have 39. But remember, that was USA versus Canada. And Canada even equals 39 to go with that Arizona 39. Canada even has the 24, which is the 42 reversed. So, I mean, that is amazing, man. with this 39 connection here. And all of this comes out of this game, game 1, Stanley Cup playoffs. Wow. Okay, so I hope y'all bared with me here through this one. Absolutely amazing, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's everything I entered with the numbers. That's it. And we don't even really, even Florida Panthers, you get 239 right there. So, I mean, that's something else. That's amazing. I'm going to see if there's anything else in the article. Again, game 2 will be Thursday, as the series is tied 1-1. And, or excuse me, it's 1-0 Florida. Excuse me. We'll see what happens in game 2 on Thursday. So I'm just going to scan the article, but I think we might be good here. I just want to see if anything else really pops here. But I think we might be good. That was a lot of information, y'all. A lot of information there, okay? And you know what? Let's look at this real quick. Bennett had opened the scoring at 3:44 of the first. Sam Bennett batting a puck out of the air. I want to look at that 3:44 real quick. Let me find a date calculator here, because Tkachuk's got the 12/11 birthday. Oh, okay. It was the 346th day of the year, so that was pretty close. Okay. So wow, y'all. So that's it. So we'll see what happens in game 2. Amazing. You know. And we could look at the brother. If we even the brother plays for the Senators. S, the 19th letter of the alphabet. So the number 19, what a major role in this breakdown. S, the 19th letter. Amazing. Matthew Tkachuk strikes quickly for the Panthers in game 1 against the Lightning. This is Daily Decodes 812. You can call me Matthew. You can call me Math Tucon. Whatever you call me, just know you got this information from me. Shout out. Until next time.